Look on the scent. Ain't fuck. Ah, good evening. Afternoon.
Good
Can you hear me?
afternoon. Yes.
Okay, okay. I'll just make a show because Robert is still spinning. I don't know why Dr. Bryant is out in the streets when he know he got a show at 12 o'clock on Saturdays. Can you answer that, Dr. Bryant? Because I
I'm
see that
going
he
to
was
turn
in
my
with
camera
audio.
off and share this link right quick.
You ain't got to do all that.
I do.
Well, go ahead and share it. We got some novice computer people here, and I'm the one that shouldn't know anything about computers, and I got Robert in the street somewhere spinning his phone or whatever he got is buffering, and then you got me here with Sabrina. You know what her nickname is, MB. Um, so she's sharing her the link with her people in Liberty County. But today we have a entertaining show for you all. It's called Threading the Water. Threading the Waters. Threading the Waters. You know, we had on the Rabble the other night, Wade in the Water. So today is Threading the Waters. So this is where we'll be when my two co-hosts come back. And I assume they'll be back in a second. If I can get my intern to go and pull the Ethernet cord, I'll be fine also because it looked like the signal is weak. Robert is still spinning, so it's just me and you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, well, you act like you don't know what to say. You're in front
No,
of a
you
camera
weren't.
every
Okay,
day.
sir. Look, this is not going to be crossfire. I could not hear you. I'm like thinking, I didn't even know you were speaking to me. I thought you were still speaking to Robert. So, okay, I can hear you, Jules. I'm ready.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
Robert
having
is
me
spinning.
back on. I have to say that. I always have to be gracious.
Yeah, Robert is spinning somewhere. He does this every week. He know that he got 12 o'clock show, and then he's in Walmart or Sam's Wholesale or somewhere at 12 o'clock when he know he got a show. Last 2 weeks he was in a hotel in Miami. He's a world traveler. Yeah,
It's all by design, Jules. It's all by design.
yeah, yeah. They don't want me to. They don't want me on here by myself now, because
No.
I'm a loose cannon. They say. Well, we're gonna break down these big races that we have, and from what we know of and who we know that's in them. Robert has all that information, but as you can see, he's not on here. But the first race is Stacy against the two bumbling idiots. Um, who she got? Purdue and Kim.
Former Senator Perdue, and we have current Governor Kemp.
You're so politically correct.
Well, the titles, you have to, respect the seats, and I do. I respect the seats. Though I don't respect the policies, but I do respect the seats. So let's get into Stacy and her opponents. Here's where, we've been having these conversations for a good while now, especially since once Stacy announced that she was running, and then once Senator Perdue announced that he was going to get into the race. So what's happening and what that's telling of is the Republican Party is extremely divided. you have two factions of the Republican Party. You have the far right, which are they call Trumpians, or those who believe in Trumpisms, and I would include the birthers in that, and maybe the Tea Party, if it was still. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but remember when the Tea Party was emerging? So I think that was basically the basis of what we have within the Republican factions. So you have the Trumpians, which is who Senator Perdue is basically representing, and then you have the conventional or traditional, not so far right leaning Republicans that are considered to be Brian Kemp. Now, what does that mean, really? It's just those are the people that President Trump is upset about because they didn't do what they say. So, do they carry some of the Trumpisms with them? I believe so, but it's not Trumpism enough for some of the far right. So that's why you have that divide, which is going to help Stacey, I do believe, tremendously.
Well, I hope so. We want to also hope that this first congressional race and this Senate seat race don't interfere in any kind of way either. Because when you got the Senate seat, you got the other crazy guy, Herschel Walker, running against Warnock. So we have to be careful because they're all going to team up. Whoever comes out of that Perdue and Kemp race is going to team up with Herschel Walker.
Right.
But somebody said Herschel Walker was fading real fast and was in trouble.
Well, I know he had a lot of issues around his campaign, stemming from personal issues and his wife filing or voting in one state while living in another. I think that was all worked out. But from what I understand, if he has not dropped out of the race, he hasn't had enough scandal to get him out. So he's in it to win it. That's how I take it.
Okay. He's in it to win it.
He's in it to win it.
Well, Stacey's coming to Liberty County real soon, or Pierce County. What county she's coming to next month?
I'm not really sure. I've heard some rumor that she may be coming to the coastal Georgia area. I've heard speculation on different counties, but that has not yet been released to the public. And I think that was for her own standards and measures. So I've heard that she will be coming to coastal Georgia soon.
Had to dial in today, so sorry about
that. Hey, Robert.
You should be still on. You know, you got a show at 12:00 on Saturday.
My daddy scheduled his haircut appointment, so if I didn't get his contact his man, he gonna hop right in. So I'm waiting for him to get a haircut. So we on Eisenhower.
He could have came over here and got his haircut by Tanya.
No, what Tanya?
She just cut by.
I ain't no Tanya cut hair.
No, she cut mine only. Ever since the pandemic hit, I have not been in the barbershop.
Well, you got skill.
Yeah. But anyway, you're gonna call in. You say, what are you gonna call in on? Okay. Well, let me put you on the speaker then, because you are you there?
Yeah, we still have. All right, I'm on the speaker now.
Can you hear him, Sabrina?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sabrina earlier.
Hi, Robert.
Hey, Sabrina, I was telling Julius my dad schedules appointments, and I asked him not to do that without me knowing, because I don't allow him to drive anymore, so I'm over there waiting on him to get a haircut.
No, I totally understand. Take care of your dad.
Yeah, but both of them, I got both of them, but hey, it's fine. I tried to fuss at him.
Okay, well, we gotta get Dad his monthly haircut, and get you. He don't need to even be in the barber shop.
Where are we right now? now. Where are we? Sabrina was preaching a minute ago. So she was over there first thing me a minute ago.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go today, Robert. I'm ready to go. We got to get ourselves, especially coastal Georgia. There's this ideology is, that, as Atlanta goes, so does Georgia. And that's not true. That's just not true anymore. It's also an ideology is so goes Chatham County, so goes the coast. That's just not true. So what we have to do is we have to be able to put people in their respective places, counties, cities, and let them do, we have to come up with a blueprint on how we can win this race that, flip not just the first congressional district, but flip the state with the governor, with the gubernatorial race. We still have to get Senator Warnock re-elected. So we have to, in order for us to really walk this walk, we really have to go to each leader in their respective counties. And right now, people say, well, yeah, you go to the leaders. The leaders are changing. You have people that are coming on the scene that are taking their rightful place out front. They're doing the work. I always talk about a better Glenn in Glenn County because they came out of nowhere and they were very effective with Ahmaud Arbery. You have different people that are emerging in different areas within coastal Georgia that are absolutely getting the work done. So we have to work together and in regards to each respective counties to come up with a plan that works for us. We can't go do the old stuff or the old platforms or the traditional stumps that we used to do. I mean, voters registration is great and grand, but we got to actually move those bodies, inspire people to go to the polls. And right now people are so disenchanted with what's happening, not just within the coastal Georgia community, but the nation overall, that people are just disengaging from politics. It's overwhelming. And I get that. But we have to, take our rightful place to re-energize them so we can make it happen.
Sabrina, I think you're right when you say, the voter registration is one thing. I look at this as a process, right?
Right.
It's almost like we register people to vote. And I continuously say that we're working on this in Chatham County now, but we've got to start doing voter education.
Right.
And that comes with not, and what I mean by that is people understand president, people understand mayor. But at the end of the day, what people don't realize is, and this goes back to civics in high school, which I don't even remember myself, but the president is not the most powerful position in government.
Thank you.
The most
You're right.
position in government is that Senate seat.
Right.
Laws are made, changed, and created. Now, every seat has what I would call its level of authority, right? So the president is important because why? The president appoints the Supreme Court justices. The president appoints judicial justices, the people that sit on the bench. So it's important because whatever the Senate creates as a law, the president will appoint people to sustain that law. So when you saw with Trump ended up picking 3 Supreme Court justices. That is powerful. That is almost 50% of the court. And why does that matter? Well, the Supreme Court can seal any deal. Roe versus Wade is the most important one right now that's being threatened. And so when you go and you vote, you got to remember things like that. But we've got to educate our communities on things like that. So now I'm talking about a federal law. Let's bring this thing down local. I won't even go state for the sake of time, but let's look at local ordinances. One of the biggest things I am an advocate for is legalization of marijuana. It never should have been a drug, and if you knew it never should have been scheduled as a Class 1 drug. If you knew your history, you would realize why it was done that way. But that's neither here nor there. But it's interesting to me that our black brothers are in jail disproportionately for a damn herb, excuse my language, for a plant. But yet, when certain populations found a good use for it, for seizures, for this, for that, it's all of a sudden legalized. So when you think about city council and your mayor vote, Those are important because your city council people have the authority to legalize that particular substance, that
Right.
plant. So we got to do a better job of educating people why it matters.
Well,
I agree. You know, you were talking about the federal structure. Let's talk about the local structures, especially within the counties and to the cities, and specifically, my focal point right now is not the presidential level. That's just not it. My focal point right now is this election that's about to take place within the coastal Georgia district, and that's to include the gubernatorial election. Now, we have the gubernatorial, we have the first congressional, we have people that are running for Senate, we have people that are getting ready to run for city council again, we have people that's running for school board, we have people that are running for county commissioners in each respective area. So let's talk about that, because I've been talking about this for a minute. You know, when we elect these people into these offices, what we don't, I think what we, especially, and I'll speak from my point of view. When I first started to get like really deep dive into politics, I didn't understand that the main chess piece on these local levels with the authority were the boards. So we often talk about, you know, infrastructure, what we lack, you know, different things, people buying up land, territories. Well, that's your local authorities. If you have any type of authority, like a development authority, those are the people that do that. Those are the people who bring in the businesses. Those are the people who are supposed to bring in the jobs. So your elected officials appoint those people into those seats. Now, then that's where the big decisions are happening. They're deciding what properties to buy, what is going to come into your town, what they can actually help implement to come to your town, what they can take away from your town. So what I encourage folks to do, because with every election comes a changeover with these boards, I implore, especially people of color, to solicit these seats on the boards. You are to go to your councilman, your alderwoman, your alderman, your mayor. Each of them have an appointment on the board, your hospital board, your transportation board, your development board authority, all of your housing authority. They all make appointments to these authorities. And then you have a voice. You have a voice. Once they appoint you to those boards, you have a voice and you have a say, a legitimate say. And that also teaches you and groom you for future political seats. So we are missing that level because we get caught up in the election process when really our elected officials, and I'm talking about mayor, I'm talking about county commissioners, I'm talking about city council, they're just there to implement ordinances. That's basically it, because they can't do anything that is going to generate money for the city. It's up to those authorities. So we have to make sure that we are putting the right people on these boards, because I'm telling y'all, there are a lot of backdoor deals that are made on these boards. And then we're left wondering, well, how did that happen? It's the boards, it's the development, it's these authorities. So please, please get in there and get in there, make them hear you and make them appoint you, get your seat and get your voice heard. And then you have some decisions you can make some decisions that affect where you live. That's so important. And I know people aren't talking about that. Then we get into the other things, the city council, and then we move on up. We move on up. I did not want to take over this show, but I did come prepared today, Jules, because
do your thing.
you give
me and Julius a chance to not talk. People will love to hear a different perspective. I love it. Keep going. You preaching that.
Yes, I mean, we got to do it. We got to do it. Right now, Bryan County have absolutely no Black representation in that county. No city council, no county commissioners. There is no representation of color in Bryan County. Why is that? It is because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. And the people who have this information, people are turning off because they're afraid. They've heard that, don't listen to this person. They're not from here. That's another thing we got to stop. We keep making these little divisive measures, and people are basically like, look, I'm here to help. I have information that can help. But they don't want to listen to because the person's not from there, or the person may be a woman. Y'all know I'm not going to get on the misogyny today, but that plays a role in the decision making. There are a lot of brilliant Black women that are in this community that we are not being heard willingly. And instead, we're listening to people who want to contain their control, and they're telling fiction throughout the community. We got to stop that, y'all. We got to stop that.
Women run the world.
Do we?
Y'all do.
I know Beyonce said that, but I ain't seen it yet.
Y'all do run the world. Y'all are. It's time for Black men, especially, to stand up and to start putting some efforts in being involved in the communities. Our Black women have been on the forefront for a long time. We don't have, and even if the Black men aren't running for office, they need to start standing up and being engaging in politics and everything social. We have been divided to a point where we don't care about whatever else is going on in the world. We only care about what goes on in our little corner.
Right.
And that's not the way that we're divided. That's not the way that we can unify to exert any type of power or position of control over anything. They know that if they keep us divided, then they'll have our women. And they put these women in front of us to make the men look weaker, and that's just, it's part of it. But we want our women out there because we have some strong, intelligent women that can do the job. But the men need to stand up, and that's where our downfall is, because we're not unified at all. And I keep saying this, and I've been saying it, and I'm keep saying it until we're at a point where it's equal, where we can have the men involved also. Look at the churches. Even though in the churches, there are women. The men are nowhere to be found. The women run the churches. They're the majority. It's probably 85% to 15% women in these churches. But
here's my whole stance. We as Black people can do this together, men and women. We have had this, I am not from here. I like to be clear about that. But I got here in 2001. There has always been some separatism. The separatism between the come heres and the from heres, the separatism between the Black men and the Black women, the separatism between the military folks and the civilians, the separatism between the Black liberals and the white, I don't want to say liberals, between the Black Democrats and white Democrats, the Black separation between the older Democrats and the younger generation of Democrats. We have so many factions. Then you have the Black women Democrat, and you got the white woman Democrat, and all of our stances are not the same. That's what we miss. So what we can do, because we know that, especially with the 1st Congressional District, no matter what the census says, and this is why I say I don't believe in these red counties, is this district is majority African American. So what we need to do is we need to work as a collective in moving the needle. That's it. I mean, there is no gender recognition, no authority recognition. And I do believe in respecting the seat. But if you hold a seat and you have given us great injustice to the community, I no longer respect the person within that seat. And I think that's fair. So we have to do things if we know that the people that are within these seats are not doing us justice or getting the job done that we need to have done. Well, I say we give them basically we give them a pretrial. Once they get in office, from that moment that they get in office, that is when your test starts. By the time it's up for re-election, you will be graded. And then we will have someone ready and up to run for that seat if you have not given us a passing score. That's just it. If you have not given us a leg up, you have not given us a any sort of seat for opportunity, then your time is up. And one of the things that I know that's constantly happening within the district is we have these circular conversations about these people who are holding the seat, and they're just so wearing. I'm like, okay, we understand this person got an F. So what are we going to do about it? Who's going up for that seat? And we have to come to these decisions as a collective.
Well, part of the problem is we don't have anybody that we have in line ready to take that seat. That's part of the problem. We don't have anybody in line ready to take those seats. What we need to do is not only in just Chatham County, but it's a tri-county little area here. Was really Chatham, Effingham, Bryan, and Liberty we need to have a collective together, like you said, where you're training these young people to come to these meetings so that they can get the grooming that they need, so that they can step up and be the new leaders for tomorrow. But we don't have that because the old leaders are so selfish and don't want to give up the reins. They don't want to give past the baton. What do you say, Rob?
Well, that's where we have another divide. We do have another divide there.
We got a great example of that down in Ware County. I talked to you always hear me ask Jay Jones about Evans Primus. Evans Primus is a young kid. I don't really call him a kid. He's a young man down in Ware County. And I'm telling y'all, this kid got to be at least in his early 30s, if not his 20s. But his everyday work is spent on making sure his community is aware of how to vote, when to vote, holding events and all of that. We just got to find that young person or that person that has the passion and the wherewithal to understand and have a vision. And so I wonder, we got to bring Evans Primus on this show from Ware County. That young brother has changed the narrative in Ware County. And Jimmy J is watching, he can tell you about him. I am so proud of him. When Joyce and I were both running, Joyce was running for Congress, I was running for Public Service Commission. I went down to Ware County. I had no clue that this young man had put together this event. I just knew that my people in Ware County mattered, right? You know what I'm saying? So I went down to Ware County. I was impressed. Now, I wasn't a big following, but he has planted the seed, and he has had the faith of a mustard seed. That young brother, if that young brother can do it, anybody can do it. But we got to have people to understand that this is not building a rocket. This is not building a facility. This is taking just a small idea and watering that seed and understanding that one day you could change the work in your community. He went, I'm going to finish with this part here. This man ran against a Republican. I mean, he's in his 20s, and we're grooming that young brother. He ran against a Republican in a staunch, white, dominated Republican area. But he's going to change that narrative. I give it 5 years, and you're going to see Ware County change blue.
Well, and I will say this. Let me piggyback on Robert. I don't know the young man, but I will applaud his efforts. And it is up to the older generation to include us, because if he's in his 20s and his 30s, we're older than him, to not tarnish that young man's name in the community because we feel some sort of animosity because he's taking the lead. Do you know how much courage it takes to be out front? Do you know how much courage it takes to be out front, to go against the traditional grain. It takes a lot of courage. And I'm here for one to tell you, when I started to do things that were unorthodox, someone tried to burn down my store. Did that deter me? Did that stop me? No, I went harder. Then what followed is, if one side can't stop you, we have another faction that will do their part. Well, don't let her in because she's here to eat our young. I'm Black. I wake up Black. I go to sleep Black. I'm doing this interview Black. I promote Black. I talk Black. I walk Black. I was born Black. I will die Black. So I understand what these issues are in the community, but we have to stop these narratives that's being put out on our future leaders, because it only hurts the future. We're not going to be here forever. None of us will, but we can create a pathway to give these next leaders an opportunity to lead.
Well, and that's what we need to do, Sabrina. We got to find a way to get that young man down in Ware County, get our young leaders here, get all of them together in the same collective to have these meetings so they can start knowing each other, so they can start supporting each other, so they can start feeding off of each other,
Right.
But it takes some older heads to get in. People come in with egos and want to get in and take over and think it's their baby and that they're doing, that's what'll happen once we start something like that. But it needs to be started because it's for the good of the community.
Right.
But we need to have these people together.
You just said something key, and I want to if I could, Sabrina, let me continue with that. What bothers me the folks that run for office is, we got as a community, we gotta rally behind and understand that it takes strategy to win, right? So what I mean,
right,
we gotta find a candidate that's suited for a seat, and when we find that candidate, we gotta get up off of our high horse. We gotta start it's ours. It's not yours. It's not. Community. And when we find a person that's best suited for that seat, let's rally behind that person. Let's get that person ready, because at the end of the day, the person we put in that seat should be out there advocating for the community. Public leadership is not about your pockets. It's not about you advancing your agenda. It's about you advancing your community. And if you understand that, you know how to step back and say, you know what? This is the best person for the seat. This is the best candidate. And we're going to rally around and get this person stronger. We're going to support them, and we're going to advance them. And when we get people that understand that, we will have better leadership. But what we find, we get people in these seats who don't even know their own history. Like, why does it matter? It matters because your people matter. It matters because your people have been historically marginalized. It matters because if you don't understand it matters, then you don't need to be in leadership. And so we've got to stop worrying about our selfish interests and worry about the community and worry about uplifting people that have been historically marginalized for decades.
And I just saw someone that asked, I think it was Miss Glover, that said, who groomed the young man? I want to say something about leadership. There are some leaders who are not groomed. They are born leaders. There are some people who are not groomed. They are born leaders. And let me say this. There are current leaders that are in the seat, that are in some seats. Let me ask you. So think of a leader. Do not say the leader's name, because I don't want to be responsible for that. But think of the leader's name that you currently dislike. Okay? You've imagined that person. Do you want that person grooming the next leader based off of what you know about this leader, this current leader? No. Sometimes we just got to let people follow their purpose. People are born leaders, and sometimes we beat them down so much.
Let me talk. We use the word groom and we mix it with mentoring. I'm gonna give you a great example of what I'm talking about. When I think about mentoring, I think about people like Julius and Jay and Bernard and Orlando. I'm younger than them, and they may give me insight. They may give me some things they've worked with. They give me some of their tactics and strategies. But it's up to me to take that information and mold it in a way that makes sense to me. They don't ever go and say, you need to go do it this way. But they will say, hey, have you thought about, did would you do this? Give a great example. One day Julius said, you need to get out there more. Well, get out there more to me might mean different things, but he will offer a carrot or a piece of information to help me understand what that means. And
right.
So that's what we need to mean by grooming. We think grooming means, okay, you got to lead the way I lead. No, it's about giving people nuggets of information to use to be an effective and successful ethical leader. And I think that's the part.
Right.
That's the part. And so,
and I totally agree with that because,
for example, that's not leading in a way that I like. I'm not going to gravitate to them anyway.
Right. Right. And I agree with you on that because, like I said, you have a lot of young people. We have a young woman who's our Next Generation Federation chair. She came to us willingly and said, I would like to start something for my school. Can I, Miss Sabrina? And I was like, of course, I would love for you to have it. But I think our next generation of leaders they like to be around the elders in the community. They like to hear the stories. They like to take those on. I love to hear from my community. I like to sit and hear the history. And then we take that in and then we exhale it into a product that is viable for our community. So I totally agree with that. I'm just saying there with the word grooming, a lot of people feel that a next leader can only be groomed by a current seat holder. And I just want to show that there is a definite distinction between that.
Yeah, you're right, because we don't want some of these people grooming the younger people. Because we have a few examples here in Chatham County now. I'm not going to call them out now, but we have a few bad examples. And there's nothing wrong with them giving them the insight if they want to come and speak or something at
Right.
a symposium or something that we have for these young people to hear their stories. But what we need now is people who are going to agitate and fight. See, the day is over for that Negro that is always wanting to sit in the back of the room and just vote. We need you to study what they're giving you. We need you to know what the policies are. We need you to know harder. We need you to know how to operate within that system. And because you are fighting for the people. If we need to weed out those ones that are there for selfish reasons. If they're there for themselves, we need to get them out of the way. But if you see somebody that wants to fight for their community while they're rising, take Derek Milo, I would say. Milo is one of those guys that I admire because he's young and he's smart and he just goes. And anything that you ask him to do, he's going to look into it to see whether it can better the community. He's not going to give you that bull that, let me get back with you and never get back with you at all. He'll call you and follow up on it. But you need young leaders like this young man that from Ware County and the one they say that's in Albany, I think King Randall. But we need people like this that we need all to be communicating and talking and bringing up younger people behind them who we find that they need to groom, because it's all about the fight. Because anybody that don't think, it's a whole conversation going on. I don't know whether y'all watching it on my Facebook post. I posted too. And it's a whole conversation. And Marilyn Monroe came and she broke down some history for us that everybody needs to go read. You need to go read Marilyn Monroe's dissertation because she did one. I'm telling you, she dissected it. And then Ivan Cohen came back with some more stuff. But y'all need to go and read this. And we need people that understand that racism still exists in this country. We see, we elect these black leaders now today who think that once they're elected, then they're supposed to just not make things equal. They're supposed to keep the status quo. No, you were elected because we believed in you to try to even the playing field. We believed that you would get in there and do what is right for this community. But now all you're doing is doing what's right for you. You got your hand out. You got your hand under the table. You're taking backdoor meetings with people that we know is status quo. And now you're getting that pat on the back and that ride on the jet. and now you're not doing what you promised that you would do. You have promises that and promises that you're breaking every day. Every day, if you look at what these people said on the campaign trail and what they're doing today, we don't need a free McDonald's dinner. We don't need a dumpster. I mean, you can do all those things. Some people need those things, but as far as changing my life, a dumpster ain't gonna do it. A free McDonald's lunch ain't gonna do it. A blanket under the bridge ain't gonna change my life. I need you to change policy. I need you to make it inclusive for people of color to have those contracts. We need some equity, and the people that we're replacing other people with are becoming those people we replaced. So we have to vet more carefully. It's about vetting nowadays.
It's about vetting. It is about vetting.
Yeah.
It's definitely about vetting. You know, we, and I say we, and I'm speaking in generality because even when before I got here, it was a we thing. We tend to vote for our friends and for our church members because we know them or I went to school with them or whatever. But do they know policy? That's the critical part. I know people who are elected officials that are told what a policy is. They don't read the policy. They just are told what the policy is. We have to make sure the person that's going in place understand policy and policy implementation and what the repercussions of that policy will be to disenfranchised communities. A lot of folks don't understand that. You know, a friend last night in Chatham County called me very upset, very upset.
I'm just surprised you got friends in Chatham County. Go ahead.
I know. Who'd have thought it? But she called me very upset and she was literally screaming. I said, "What is wrong?" She said, "I was just given sent a bill in the mail for almost $9,000. I said, "For what?" She said, "Because the fire truck came to her house one time and the alarm wasn't on. So I guess it was a false sensory. But to get that fire truck with 2 firemen to come out, it was $9,000 and she was billed." So she did.
That was an error, I believe. I don't believe.
Well, I can tell you this: they are pretty much handling it now. But the fact of the matter is, she called the company, and the company that built her, because the bill didn't come from the county. It came from a third-party agency that supports the county, and this is their policy of anytime that a fire truck comes to your house, you get a $9,000 bill. So this is being worked out. This is being worked out. But
what county?
Huh?
What
Chatham.
Chatham? I can't believe that.
I wish I could put her name. Well, you know what?
You pay taxes for these people to come out every day. There's no.
Hey.
I mean, the ambulance is the only thing that I know that you get a extra charge from. That's like telling if the police come to your house, you're gonna charge for the police to come to your house too.
That's what we were on the phone, but I've seen the bill. There's some other folks that seen the bill that are your leaders, and they're trying to fix it because it is real. Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
it was meant to be $90 because I remember getting a $22,000 water bill from the city of Port Wentworth for $22,000,
and that is insane.
Right.
All I can say is she did call the company, and the company said that it was what it was. So she's trying to resolve it at the elected official level. So hopefully that will be resolved. But that partnership between that third party and your fire district, then that's a conflict, but that's also policy related. So hopefully that will be resolved. But what if she had not called them? And what if she had started, well, listen, can I just set up a payment plan? $9,000? Come on. We have to do better. We have to do better. And you're absolutely right. If we're going to put somebody in these seats, they have to know policy. They have to know policy. And
Or
I'm
at
not
least
talking
be
about,
trying to read policy, at least be willing to learn it. You have Alicia and Bernetta. Even though Bernetta's a
yeah,
policy
guru. Yeah,
guru,
yeah,
Alicia and Keisha, they are up on it.
right,
They are policy fools now. They want to break it down, but see, and that's why everybody's trying to stop them, because now they are looking into what's right by the letter of the law, what's right by the charter, what's right by this policy. Okay, if this is so, then let's do this. And why can't we do this? But see, they've been the old system of doing things, the good old boys have always bypassed all this, and because they know that all these people came and did was vote. That's all they ever came to do was
but you
vote.
know what, Julius? But you know, going back to what I said earlier, Sabrina and Julius, you know, Julius is good at marketing, and Julius is good at getting information out. Sabrina's good at editing and Robert's good at policy. But you know what? When we put all those things together and we get that candidate who's right for that seat, when we all come together as a community and bring our collective skills to get that person ready, you see what I mean by I said earlier?
yeah.
We can do more than that. Stop being so doggone selfish. It ain't about me.
That's
it ain't
correct.
about me. But what
Right.
it's about these people who have fought and taught us and helped us and bought our clothes, our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, our godparents, our church members. That's what it's about.
Right.
And when we collectively bring our skills together for that candidate, oh, how powerful we can be.
That's correct.
And I totally agree. I totally agree. And it goes back to that vetting piece. You know, if we're all going to do our part, and Robert, to add on to my list of being good, I'm good at strategy and development. So with that being said, if we're going to do our part, then our part consists of that big word that we often don't talk about, that little big word that we often don't talk about, and that's vetting. We need to be looking, we should know who our candidates are. We should know who our candidates are. We should know where they live. We should know where they live. We should know how they live. We should know their background. I implore everybody who wants to run for a race to do that, if that's what they can do, if that's what they want to do, if they can afford the fees. But at the same time, it is up to us. If we're going to talk about politics, we need to talk about the vetting process of the political process. We need to deep dive into it, because we don't want people to get in the race and then they've spent, that's a lot of money, y'all, to get in the race, and then midpoint something comes out and it disqualifies them. And if they're a Democrat, especially, and we know that these people have our best interest in mind, and they're running in a partisan race, well, guess what? That's an open room for, or open chair for that opposition to take that chair. So a lot of the things that we are experiencing within politics is it's because we're not vetting, we're not properly vetting. And I made a declaration on my Facebook page the other day, especially after the vote. And you have, I don't want to even mention the two senators' names because that would get me all upset again. But I made a declaration that, you know, I get a lot of candidates that I speak with in regards to strategy, in regards to development. And one of the things is I tend to go to people and talk with them. When you're having a real conversation with people, with candidates, you would know who is qualified and who is not. You will know that. So at that point, when I know that they're qualified, I will continue to work with them. If they're not, I will refer them to someone else. Or I would say, I can't help you. And I'm just being honest, because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for helping the district, which we all should be. That's the part right there. So vetting has to come into play. It has to come into play more, and we have to be willing to do it as a coalition if we have to,
And do,
a
but
coalition of the willing.
but after we
But
vet
after
them,
we vet,
do we make
do we
them?
make them?
They go that
They
echo
will
again.
echo again.
Do we make
Do
them
we make
sign a pledge, like a contract with America or something? I don't.
No, after we vet them, we will know everything about them, to include voting records, donor records, how they live, where they live, if there's a scandal, by the time we vet them. But
Well,
the real,
I don't
the
think we
real,
make them sign a pledge or anything. This is
yeah,
the thing. It's like this, and like Sabrina, I think you said it earlier, Sabrina. You got a choice. It's like just like in the school, you got a choice to either do right or not. And there's going to be issues where a candidate has to really make a tough choice. But it's up to that candidate to come back and talk to the constituency, to come
right,
back and talk to folks about issues. Great example of that is when I'm elected to that city council, I'm going to come back and talk to my elders. I'm going to come back and talk to District 5. I'm going to talk to people. But
What city council?
People don't want to talk to people.
What
They
city
want to
council?
get out here and make their own decisions without any informed data, without any kind of factual evidence, and make decisions off the cuff of their hips. And that's why the city's in the predicament it is in now. We got to start asking questions and getting people involved in that decision-making process and use data, use evidence.
right.
But if they can't do that, guess what? We got a report card. The NAACP needs to get back to doing that report card they used to do. We got a report card. And at the end of that term, if you get an F, goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye,
Two things,
goodbye.
Robert. Two things, Robert. One is, what city council seat? What you got an announcement you want to make or something?
I'm going to make an announcement yet, but I am going to form a committee. And hear me clearly. Our current city councilwoman is a wonderful person, great person, but when it comes down to leadership, you get an F. And so I'm going to form a committee. I'm starting out listening to people in the District 5 of the city of Savannah, because I'm going to make sure that if I'm hearing things that ain't right, I'm going to form a committee, and we're going to run it again. We're going to run a campaign for city council, District 5 of Savannah.
Okay.
Because it's time out for these killings. It's time out for folks not knowing that you rezoned the whole area of our community without them even knowing. It's time out for you making decisions about a fairground to pad your pockets and not pad our community. So we're going to do some things different.
That's breaking news right here on ATR.
That's breaking news. I should have been playing this music behind.
That's breaking news right here on ATR.
They got this. Hey, you seen the new feature on StreamYard, Robert? They got the background music now. You hear it in the back now?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, they got. So now you can say those speeches. You can say those speeches, and you got the music with it now.
I was wondering what that music was.
Yeah, so StreamYard got this new feature in, but I should have had you up here on your photo. You should have been live. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. You supposed to be live with that statement you just made. That was
breaking news.
Yeah, that was a commercial.
The official announcement will come, once I get my evidence again. It goes back to having evidence.
Well, and let me get back to Sabrina real quick. We were talking about vetting, and Robert, well, you too, Robert. We were just talking about how we vet these people, but we vetted two people: Pastor Smalls, myself, a group of other people had dinner with these people. We knew them. We we got another caller. Let me see if I can merge him on this here too, because I'm sure he watching the show and want to talk to. But we vetted people that were on the we vetted people that were that we thought were going to do the right thing, and then when we helped get them elected, they did the absolute opposite of what we thought they would do. And even Curtis Purdy, we had meetings after meeting after meeting, asking him whether he was going to be his own man. asking whether he was going to do what's right for the people. But Curtis Purdy seems to be lockstep in everything that we agreed that he wouldn't be lockstep in. He's his own person. Do what you got to do. But you voting in lockstep. You have never had an independent vote of an independent vote opposite of Nick and Linda and Dietrich. You betrayed me. You betrayed everything. I had my people on the corner. That race was too tight. I had my people on the corner. Van didn't even like him. Van had Tony Thomas called me. Van saw us on the corner with Curtis Purdy signs. Tony Thomas called Van and told him that we had Curtis signs up with Van signs. Van called me and had his people call me also, telling me to don't hold the two signs up at the same time. Now he votes everything with Van. He's not his own man, so Curtis has to pay a price also. And we'll see whether he pays that price in the next 18 months, 24 months. Linda and Dietrich, we had meetings with these people. We knew what we were going to get if they did hold true to what they say they were going to do. So we weren't worried about them. We vetted them. Pastor Smalls and I having dinner with them. Pastor Smalls supporting them. Me on the corners for Dietrich, me and Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, you on the phone now? Well, I don't know how this thing went from speaker. It should still be on the flip phone. Are you there?
Yeah, good evening. I saw the lovely Miss Milby. How are you, Miss Milby?
Happy New Year, Mr. Charlie Brown. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. You can just call me Charlie Brown. That's good enough.
Okay.
So,
listen, I was looking at the show and can you hear me, Bruce? Can you guys hear me?
yes, sir.
Remember, the biggest problem is that we don't ask them. We do vet them. Well, I'm getting that background.
I don't know. We hear you good. Keep going.
Okay, we do vet them. But what takes place is that we should ask them, why are they running? What they running for? Are they running for a job? If they're running for a job, then we don't need them. If they don't have some information on why they're running for that seat and done some research, you'll see them at the council meeting, a county commissioner meeting, or the board of education meeting, you haven't seen them until now, then nobody ain't up with the individual who is talking to them. And you have to stand fast with that. But you got a lot of people that want to put their time more service out there. Sure, that's the problem. If you want to be about the community, you can't just talk about it. You got to step up to the plate and attempt to hit the ball. But you have to do your research.
Yes, sir. And see, and part of this vetting process now, you can look at it. You see Sabrina, she's being vetted live. You see Robert, he's being vetted live. These people are being vetted so that the people can see there's actual footage of them saying what they would do once they're elected. Now, we do have footage somewhere in the archives for Dietrich and Linda also, because they said that they were against everything that was happening at City Hall, and then now they're there doing the exact same things that was happening with the people who they replaced. So that's a problem. People do lie to you, but it's part of the record. And what we need to do is dig those records up and play them.
You can't control. You can't control that. You can't control that. All you can do is the next time go to the ballot,
put them out.
What to do and vote them out of office.
Yes, sir.
Because they do not stick to their word on what they do and the way they want to see this community. Mm-hmm. And that's all I wanted to say is I'm concerned about the people we serve, and I'm concerned about some of the endorsements.
Okay, we're concerned about those endorsements also, and um, um, I had one guy tell me that it was premature and he won't do anything like that again until he sees who else is in the race from now on.
And
So
can we talk about that?
Jim, you gotta think with your head and not with your heart. I cannot buy that excuse. He will not make good decisions. I'm sorry. And I'll let him off the hook this time and say, I'll accept your apology. But, time and time again, fool me, but you don't fool this old guy here.
yes, sir, can't fool you. I know you wake up too early. What you say, Sabrina?
So in regards to here's I think
and Sabrina Kent is good to see you. I'm glad
likewise, sir.
you're involved. Okay?
That's Sabrina Newby, not Sabrina Kent.
Oh, what's the difference?
Ivan corrected me earlier. Ivan said her name is Marilyn Jackson. What did I call Marilyn?
He called my name earlier. He said it's good to see you, Sabrina Newby. So
okay. Well, we thank you for the call, Mr. Brown.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So
Robert, you still there? Robert.
Yeah, let me handle Dad's stuff real quick.
Okay. We
Sabrina going on. We got 10 more minutes, so
yeah, we got 27 minutes.
So let's talk about the endorsing. I get it. I mean, I get it. And I'm not trying to make excuses because I believe this is what happened. I think they thought there were only going to be the 3 candidates at that time. To be clear, Dr. Monroe came very unexpected because she was being vetted by a whole nother group. So this is when she came in. Now, I think what people forgot is folks have up until March 7th to announce that they're running for this 1st congressional district race. Mm-hmm. So anybody else can jump in the scene, but I think people look at the dollar amount. That's almost $6,000 to qualify. Do people have that type of money, just to throw into the ring and say, I'm going to do this or, whatever? A lot, I get it. So they may have thought that no one, let's be clear, I'm not running for any seat. I don't live in Chatham County. So it's Robert. Y'all pursue Robert. They probably thought.
He's running for.
What you need, Sabrina? I'm multitasking.
Robert, they're like, people are asking like, what are they running for? So Dr. Robert Bryant, just declared that he is putting together a committee.
What I'm doing is a fact-finding mission. I'm going to look at every person who's willing to talk to me in the 5th district of the city of Savannah. I'm going to talk to every neighborhood association, every leader. And when I find evidence that, hold on, Daddy, hold on. What? 3145. What I'm going to do is find evidence. And if the evidence points that there's been a gross negligence, which I believe there has been, I'm going to form a committee that will look at me running for the city council for the 5th district of the city of Savannah.
Well, that was Dr. Robert Bryant.
I think that Cecilia Cook wants to be your one of your campaign managers.
Yeah, I was like,
I think that Cecilia Cook just volunteered to be your campaign manager.
Well, listen to that. Whoever want to be on board, 314. Whoever want to be on board, that's fine. Because Sabrina gonna be my. She said she got to raise some money, so Sabrina, I'm gonna be calling you.
All right. Well, that's what he's running for. He's running against. He's exploring running for the 5th district seat for Chatham County City Council against Dr. Shabazz.
So, and going back to the endorsement, they probably just thought there was the 3 candidates, and Mr. Herring had he was the popular one at the time. So, people, one way to impede further candidates from jumping in the race, and this is an old tactic, is by coming out and endorsing very quickly. So if you get all of these people to endorse this candidate, that deters people from wanting to get in the race. But here's one thing I always tell people, and history proves it. Money don't vote, and endorsements don't vote. It's the people and the people only, and how that candidate resonates with the people. That's it. Just like they say, signs don't vote. None of that. I mean, you got to have money. Don't get me wrong, for an election. But at the end, it doesn't work. It doesn't vote, because if that was the case, Jamie Harrison would be the new congressman for South Carolina, and President Trump would still be in office. Okay, so let's just be clear. We have to speak, call a thing a thing. That's what happened, and with the fact that the person who said that they came out too early, I take that to be probably true from the heart. They because they didn't think anybody else was going to get in the race. But as we know, and if we do the timeline, we know that people have until March 7th to get in the race. So they shouldn't be surprised if someone jumps from under the cabinet, the kitchen cabinet, and said, "Okay, I'm in it." Yeah. That's how quickly it can happen.
Well, yeah, as an elected official, they should wait, because you don't know whether your best friend or your close colleague is going to jump out and run in that race. So you shouldn't jump to support somebody, especially somebody you don't know, somebody you've never met in your life, just because they called you, or because somebody who called you to have you to support or endorse this person. Let
me say this too, if I may.
To that point, y'all, what gives me where people live, how you gonna sit up here? But what bothers me, we had a candidate this week, Sabrina, I don't know if you saw it, who couldn't tell you about their own history, couldn't tell you about Weaker Time, but could tell you about Wade Herring, could tell you everything about why they supported Wade Herring. At the same time, couldn't tell you why they didn't support George Craig. It bothers me, but just keep it on that. It bothers me when our folk that look like us, and it's not racist, it's just downright understanding that your people is marginalized. And when you don't understand that, then you're a fool and you fall for anything. But when you can sit up and tell me about somebody that don't look like you, all because they stroked your ego, didn't even give you a check, stroke your little sorry ego, you can sit there and endorse it, but you can't tell me about your own people. You crazy as all get out.
Well, can I say this? I will say this. And a lot of that is, I don't know who you're speaking of, but I will say this, and I understand he's a man. A lot of that comes with just, people don't believe in what the patriarchy consists of. It consists of, and I've heard this in the district, that only a white man can win this district. Let me tell you something. I'm just going to go on record with this, and y'all can quote me later. I have worked this district back, forth, front, back, side to side, to include the new counties that we are inheriting. And I can tell you that is not the opinion of coastal Georgia. That is not the opinion of coastal Georgia. We have to stop letting people getting our ear because of a position they may hold, and they tell you only this type of person can win it. That's the mindset of patriarchy, and mixed with a little bit of misogyny, perhaps. And they think that only a man can do a certain thing, and we just know it not to be true. So, and as a matter of fact, I know it's not to be true, because like I told Julius on the phone, I said, we got to get in the habit of correcting misinformation and calling a thing a thing. Now, they may refute what I'm saying because of the patriarchy mindset, but I'm telling you the truth. I am telling you the truth. I'm telling you what, as my mother would say, if she was still here, I'm telling you what God loves. The people don't think that way in coastal Georgia. This race is wide open, and they're looking for someone that represents them. And it's no longer based on identity politics, meaning that person doesn't have to look like them. That person doesn't have to live near them. That doesn't have to be in the county. It doesn't have to be anywhere that they're not familiar. They just got to know that that person has the leadership ability and the skills that will take us to the point where we need to go as a district. That's it. And ultimately, what people say, I just want to beat Buddy Carter. I just want to beat Buddy Carter. So this race really is wide open, and it's anybody's race to win or lose.
And somebody else is coming in pretty soon, some retired colonel or something.
I'm not certain, but I can tell you this race is anybody's race to win or lose.
Yeah. Well,
but we gotta, and honestly, folks will get mad about it, but we gotta follow the leadership. And right now, the leadership is the first congressional district leadership, and rally behind a candidate. What you said, Sabrina, is right. I too would love to be Buddy. Buddy, let me tell you something. Out of all the things that angered me with Buddy Carter, it was this. Buddy Carter had the audacity with his little pea-brain head to sit there and put on social media that it's states' rights to decide voting rights. Well, what is states' rights to decide that you could be a legal drug dealer? Come on now, don't come to me with that mess. You know what I'm saying? It just kills me how Buddy would sit there and with his little snake self and just slither and slap through all this mess and don't really have any leadership ability other than to peddle opioids to people. Now play with me, Buddy. But what we got to do is stand behind the leadership and pick that candidate so we can rally behind the individual and get that person in office. Now, with that said, I don't think Wade's the candidate. Let me tell you why. We invited Wade to appear on one of the ATR shows. He refuses to speak to black folks. So if any go vote for Wade, shame on you, because at the end of the day, if he can't speak to you about your issues, there's something wrong. So now we got two candidates we need to pick from. And so we got to rally behind that one candidate and put our energy into making sure that we beat Buddy Carter. If not, he'll be back in another term.
Well, I do believe this. A lot of folks tend to, I agree with you, Robert. Let me say that first. I agree with you. And the goal is to beat Buddy. That should be everybody's goal. This race is too critical for us to gamble on. Relationships hopefully will be able to withstand after this election, but the goal is to beat Buddy Carter. The goal is to beat Buddy Carter. And that should be the only goal, is to be, and we need to get behind the candidate because right now we have a primary, but that primary, which is a jungle primary, we have to get behind the candidate that can win the primary. That's just it. And then after that candidate wins the primary, we got to push that candidate across the finish line. We have to.
Well, one of the things that it's going to take, Sabrina, is funds. It takes funds to get the people out, to get the people to work for you, to get the people out. Buddy Carter has a war chest that we can win if the effort is put into on the ground. We have to put in the ground effort in order to beat Buddy Carter, because Buddy, like Ivan said, Buddy Carter has never had a town hall meeting at a black church or at a black venue. So that tells you that there should be no black people voting for him. It should be no Democrats crossing over to voting for him. It should be no Democrats crossing over to supply him with money to beat us. That's why I say that about the Wade Herring choice. He has helped Buddy Carter to stay in that position. I don't care if he gave him $1. He shouldn't have gave him anything. You don't help somebody to suppress our vote or to suppress our community. And this is what he has been doing for the last few years. I don't care if he's your friend. My friend can go over. If Robert turned into a Democrat, and I would know Robert way better than you know Buddy Wade, I know Robert way better. If Robert turned into a Republican, Robert ain't getting a dime from me. So you can take that little excuse that you
So
have
I'm getting
that you
$100
knew
commitment.
him,
That means.
huh? They say,
That means I'm getting $100 commitment.
yeah. If you stay a Democrat, if you stay on this side, if you say you're going to fight for the people, but when you say if you're going over there to the Republican side and I'm supposed to give you something to fight against everything I'm fighting for, what sense that make? It don't make no sense. A good excuse, you know. So no, you can't get no votes over here. You can't get no votes on this side of the tracks. So
I think, you know,
that's just it for
I
me.
and I understand. I believe we're in an age of Aquarius, if you will. We are opening our minds up to what the strategies need to be moving forward and what we don't want. We see that it is the other side is getting people to infiltrate within our district or within our community and basically get us to back them. And I mean, to be clear, we have African Americans within these districts that are a Republican. I will say this, if y'all don't know, in Wayne County, there's a Republican Black caucus that's there. There are just some people who just don't believe in the demo, that that's what fits them. So we have to be clear and go into that mindset. Not everybody's going to vote the same. But we can't just ponder on that. We have to build up our arsenal. And I get what you said, Julius, about you got to have money to work the campaign. I get that. I
That
100%
type of
get that.
campaign, on that type of campaign, you do, because
Yeah,
it's a U.S. seat, and it's commercials, is door to door, is mail outs, it's people on the ground, is signage. It's a lot of stuff that goes into a campaign like that. And if you want to be able to compete on a level to win, then you must raise those funds, and we must be
I
united.
agree.
We must be united. If we're not
I agree.
united, then Buddy Carter sneaks in again, and that's something we don't need or want.
We
Vote for Buddy
definitely
Carter's
don't
vote
want.
for Trump.
And
That's what
that is, you have these
Buddy Carter is.
Trumpians that are. Yeah, and that's the thing. We have these Trumpians, and they have a very aggressive agenda, and they are very recessive. They want to turn back the hands of time. We allow that by not engaging the political, platform. We allow that by not casting a vote. We allow that by not our having an unwillingness to understand politics and not politricks. I'm talking about politics because the trickery within this, that's not politics. Understand the good that you can do within your community and get engaged. We can stop all that just by doing those things. And I'm just really excited about this upcoming election. I'm excited about my role, your role, everybody else's role in it, because I really do believe if this is one of the most exciting races outside of the presidential race. It is one of the most galvanizing races outside of the presidential race. So people are going to turn out to vote. With that being said, we have to make sure that our local communities are equally excited about the candidate that is going to represent them on the lowest local level.
We can beat Buddy Carter without a doubt. There are more votes, uh, Democratic votes, than Republican votes, but they go out to vote and we don't. Georgia is on paper a blue state because the Democrats outnumber the Republicans. We just don't go vote. We need to go vote. If we go vote, no race, we'll we'll take over the state house. We'll take over all the branches of government, and then we can change some things. We can do some things. It could be some diversity, some inclusion. um, some economic diversity also. But until we do that, if we don't go out to vote, we can't change anything. And if we keep electing these people like Al Williams down in your neck of the woods, and we will never get nothing done, because these are the people who we know will sell us out for a chicken sandwich. So we can't do that.
Speaking of, y'all order y'all shirts that
chicken and
says
large fry.
get y'all shirt that says my black vote worth more than
we can do a part two. She didn't want to join us, Julie. Now she all hype.
Yeah.
Well, no, you see, no. I was told about you guys. I was told about you guys' last show. When was that? Wednesday? Was it Wednesday, Tuesday, one day last week? One day last week. But anyway, whatever that hot show was, I was told about it. And they were people actually were calling me and said, Sabrina, can you get on the show? And I was like, no, because I was actually doing something else. But I said, I'll tell Julius what. We'll come on and I'll talk about it on Saturday. So I couldn't wait to get on here because I'm like thinking, I'm coming with a slingshot and a rock. Okay, that's all I want. We're gonna take down the game.
Listen, we always need. And just say this, and he believes the same thing. You always got to have a women's perspective because the women's perspective will round it out. And all of that, it's good to have a balanced conversation.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, we all can concur that we need change within our district. We need a culmination of our district. We need to have district conversations. And y'all don't forget, even though I'm here, but the first congressional district of Federation of Democratic Women would love to host a platform for you all to come on and share with us your ideas of how we can move this district forward.
Well, let's see if we could do something with maybe y'all could get Wade Herring on.
We are planning a forum.
We reached out to Wade. He said Wade will not appear on the shows. So Wade don't want to talk to black folks. His point blank period. He don't want to come to the church. He want to show up in MLK. Let me talk about this here. And we got to go. But what makes me mad, and especially with Wade, don't show up to me on MLK talking about Dr. King's dream. Because you don't believe in Dr. King's dream no more than I believe that the sky is yellow. But you believe in, you think you're going to come out here and bamboozle us and put a rule over our eyes and get a vote, but yet you don't even support voting rights, Wade. Wade ain't nothing but an equality to Mitch McConnell, and we don't need it.
Yeah, Wade said that God came to him while he was at his desk in his office and told him to run for this seat. In a black church, he said that. So he just BS in the whole.
Are you making that up?
No, that's the truth. That's the truth. He said God told him to run for this seat while he was at his desk, sitting at his desk. He said he answered the call, and that's what he told him in the black church.
Well, we about to call God back and get a verification.
We had Jamal contact God because Jamal and God is on, Herschel V. Jenkins grads. So we're gonna find out whether God told him that. Robert, we got 3 minutes, Robert. This is about a 90-minute program. We started late. You just wasn't there because you were having technical difficulties. Yeah. But Cecilia said that she's just over the fairgrounds and that she needs to see you at Savannah Summit so you can hear the residents' complaints. That's about 200 votes in there. You need to go there for real.
Send me the information. My email, y'all type it in. My email right now is RGB. My initials, Aura, as in Robert, G as in George, and B as in Brian. My middle name comes from my granddaddy. So RGB, put a period, Stalls, SOLVES. RGB.stalls@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can use it, but not you can use the email on that flyer.
We'll give her all of your information. So she wants to be your assistant campaign manager.
Oh Lord, the motion.
Yeah. So we're gonna have fighters from now on. That's the only people. Don't even call me if you ain't gonna fight for the people. I don't want to hear it. I'd rather stay home. Don't call me if you're not fighting for the people. Everybody calls me. Don't call me if you ain't gonna fight for the people. That's just what it is with me from now on. I'm for the people. I don't care who you are, as long as you for the people. But you got to show. Don't come in trying to pull a blanket over my head, thinking I'm stupid. That God told you that you should run, and you God ain't never told you. God makes plans years and years and years ahead of time. You know, so I'm not gonna be fooled by that. 2 minutes. Any last words, Sabrina?
No, I'm just really excited, and I'm thankful that you all are having these much needed conversations. And again, I know y'all have been trying to get me on the show, but I'm back in school, so I don't have really time, but I took time out today because this was something, a conversation that we had to have. And I just thank you so much for allowing me to voice my opinion.
Well, Melinda wants you to call her also. You saw that?
Yes,
Okay, so make sure you call Melinda. Hey, Melinda.
I will.
Well, we thank everybody for tuning in. Dr. Bryant is on the road somewhere driving. I don't.
Now listen. Well, it's funny. I'm just getting. He got his haircut. So.
Okay, so we need Dr. Bryant to start being in front of a computer when he's doing this show. We can't get Tyler Perry to look at these shows or nothing if you riding in the car. He gonna say, "What kind of mess is that right there?"
Hey, but y'all know I want to get out here and meet you.
Yeah. So, he made the big announcement. So y'all look out for what's going on. Dr. Betty Jones and Cecilia Cook, all y'all in his district, and I don't know whether that's the county. Y'all switch over to the county. Y'all might switch over to the.
Don't forget that Harris, Dr. Harris. Don't leave my friend out. Dr. Harris.
Yeah, Dr. Harris. Yeah, all them over there.
She ain't never scared.
That's right. So y'all heard it here first. He's not running for school board. He is fit to put his next 18 months into running for exploring a run for the 5th district.
That's all.
Okay. Ivan, what did I call Marilyn earlier? I don't remember. I thought I said Marilyn Jackson. But Ivan told me her name. Ivan, type it in there real quick. Dr. Bryant is the Charles Carrault of ATR. He be on the road. Yeah, Charles used to be on the road all the time. Charles Carrault with CBS News. That's a good little story. Remember he used to be on the road all the time, and they'd end the story with him. Yeah. Okay, Melinda said you got her vote and her support. I called her Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. My fault, Marilyn Jackson. I was just excited, Ivan. I was excited. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe dead. But I do know of Marilyn Monroe.
I knew you were talking about Thornton.
No, I was talking about.
If you want me to be Marilyn Monroe, that's fine.
I was just excited. I was caught up, Ivan. Marilyn Jackson. Y'all go and read Marilyn Jackson's dissertation on my post where I post the interview with Wade had with the Georgia Current newspaper. So yeah, we at 1:30. Anyway, we thank y'all for joining. Y'all share. Go on and look at it again. Share it some more. And we'll see y'all next Saturday, same time, same bat channel. Don't forget to tune in tonight for Pastor Smalls with Tell It Like It Is. It should be hot. 6 p.m. tonight. Pastor Smalls, Unity Political Action Committee. All right? Show coming to this network pretty soon. We're working out all the logistics. But tune into that tonight. Anyway, see y'all later.